We're standing right at the edge of a massive structural shift that's actively rewriting the digital economy as we speak. For years, digital strategy for the C-suite has been built on a pretty familiar foundation, right? Organic search, clicking links, optimizing websites to capture human eyeballs. But let's be real, that platform is currently burning. We're moving away from an era of collapsing organic search and stepping into a radically different reality, one that absolutely demands a brand new strategic blueprint. We're talking about the rise of agentic commerce. To really grasp why this demands your immediate attention, we need to look at the sheer scale of what's happening. According to McKinsey research, by 2030, orchestrated revenue from agentic commerce is projected to reach anywhere from $1 trillion to $5 trillion globally. That's trillion with a T. This isn't just some fun new marketing channel to experiment with next quarter. This is a high-stakes financial reality. For enterprise leaders, this represents a fundamental reallocation of digital wealth, and capturing a piece of that multi-trillion-dollar pie means understanding how purchasing dynamics are fundamentally changing from the ground up. At the very heart of this shift is a concept that consumer trends expert Matt Britton calls decision compression. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's the acceleration of consumer choices from minutes or hours down to absolute milliseconds. In this new era, the time between a consumer's intent to buy and the actual transaction shrinks towards zero. Why? Because algorithmic AI systems are stepping in as the new gatekeepers. Think about it. Instead of a user spending 20 minutes browsing reviews for the best protein powder under $50, they simply ask their AI assistant. The AI evaluates reviews, ingredients, pricing, and availability in milliseconds and just presents one recommended product with a buy button. It's replacing traditional discovery entirely. And the financial impact of this, it's already hitting balance sheets. Gartner is projecting a 25% decline in traditional search volume as these AI overviews and agents take over. If your business relies on traditional search traffic, well, that's a pretty terrifying metric. It signals an immediate, urgent need to reallocate billions in digital spend. Brands that fail to adapt won't lose because their products are inferior. They're going to lose because they become literally digitally invisible inside these new machine-mediated ecosystems.
So, here is our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll cover the agentic commerce revolution. Second, the three-layer market model. Third, build versus buy strategies. And finally, the new C-suite mandate. Let's dive in.
Part 1. The Agentic Commerce Revolution.
Think about the evolution we're seeing right now. We're jumping from basic level 1 personalized nudges, the classic "you might also like" recommendations, straight into level 3. This is a massive shift from personalization to full-blown delegation. At this level, the AI isn't just recommending things. It's completing purchases, managing fulfillment, and even negotiating offers autonomously on behalf of the user. The human simply delegates the task, and the machine executes the entire workflow. This creates a stark contrast with the old world we're used to. In traditional e-commerce, you're optimizing for human browsing. You rely heavily on SEO keywords, website UX, and emotional triggers to secure an impulse buy. But agentic commerce, it's an entirely different beast. AI agents honestly couldn't care less about your beautiful lifestyle imagery or emotional UX triggers. They bypass your brand website entirely. Instead, they rely on large language model-based search, machine-readable structured data, strict logic, real-time pricing, and availability. It's a complete pivot from subjective human appeal to objective, data-driven delegation.
Moving on to Part 2, the three-layer market model.
As research firm IDC frames it, we really need to think of this ecosystem as three interlocking layers. To capture those trillions of dollars in projected value we talked about, business leaders must systematically understand how this new tech stack is structured, because at the end of the day, you can't strategize for or defend your margins in a landscape you haven't actually mapped out yet.
So let's build this out. Picture a highly efficient restaurant. Step 1, right at the surface, are the agents. Think of them as the waiters your customers actually interact with. Step 2 is creation and operation technology. This is your secret recipe and the kitchen prep area. This right here is where your strategic advantage lives. It includes the multi-agent orchestration and vector databases that feed your specific proprietary company data into the AI. If you own your data here, you own your market edge. And finally, step 3 is execution, the cloud and silicon bedrock, the raw kitchen equipment, so to speak. As an executive, you don't necessarily need to build step 3 yourself, but you absolutely must master step 2 to ensure your agents are smarter and much more effective than your competitors. Now, if you think this architecture is something you can just worry about next decade, well, think again. According to IDC, 77% of organizations already have agents running in production today. Let that sink in. This is an immediate deployment reality. For the C-suite, the question is no longer whether to deploy agentic AI, it's how to navigate the complex ecosystem that comes next.
Which brings us to part 3, build versus buy strategies.
What makes this market so incredibly tricky right now is the extreme convergence we're seeing. Do you buy off the shelf from enterprise software platform vendors who are already embedding AI into their existing products? I mean, this is definitely faster, but it heavily risks vendor lock-in and commoditization. Or do you build custom models alongside systems integrators using those underlying tech layers? This path gives you high defensibility in custom workflows, but obviously it requires massive internal data readiness and a much higher upfront capital investment.
So how are organizations reacting to this? With some serious strategic sourcing pragmatism. Right now, there's actually a 50-50 split between build and buy strategies, mostly because organizations expect to source agents from multiple vendors simultaneously. The absolutely critical decision point right now is avoiding lock-in. The market is just way too young and fragmented to bet your entire enterprise architecture on one single supplier. Smart leaders are buying for commoditized tasks, and they're building for their true core competencies.
As IDC puts it so perfectly, understanding where your organization sits in this ecosystem and where your partners and competitors sit is no longer optional. Mapping this landscape is an absolute prerequisite if you want to execute the digitization of labor at scale, safely and effectively. And make no mistake, that digitization of labor is exactly where your immense operational cost savings are going to come from.
Finally, part 4, the new C-suite mandate.
The most immediate shift we're seeing is the move away from traditional SEO and toward AEO, Answer Engine Optimization, and AAO, Agent-Agent Optimization. I want you to remember this. Data is the new shelf space. Just like paying top dollar for eye-level shelf space in a grocery store, your structured data is what gets you seen by the machine. It's really no longer about ranking web pages with clever keywords. It's about building structured, data-rich content specifically designed for machine extraction. If an AI agent cannot seamlessly read your product's attributes, availability, and pricing via an API, your product simply does not exist.
So, here is your 2026 playbook. Number 1, audit your AI citations immediately. You need to find out right now if your brand assets are even showing up in AI-generated answers. Number 2, increase authority density. AI models prioritize verifiable expertise, so getting cited by trusted third parties is absolutely critical. Number 3, ensure flawless data transparency so machines can actually read your inventory. Number 4, optimize for embedded agentic payments. Networks like MasterCard are already standardizing how agents transact autonomously, and you need to be ready for it. And number 5, maintain human-in-the-loop oversight. You have to govern these agents to prevent rogue actions or brand risks.
Because ultimately, consumer behavior is shifting drastically from active browsing to passive delegation. AI addresses our decision fatigue by eliminating infinite choice, presenting just 1 or 2 highly curated options based on predictive behavior. If you haven't structured your data and executed the AEO playbook we just discussed, there's no way you'll make it into that final, highly curated selection.
Matt Britton frames this beautifully when he says leaders need to treat AI search as a new distribution infrastructure, rather than an incremental feature. This is foundational stuff. Waiting around for perfect data or waiting for the market to magically settle is a critical error. Algorithmic defaults solidify very, very quickly, and the early movers are going to gain compounding advantages that will be incredibly expensive, if not impossible, for latecomers to overcome.
Which leaves us with this final, vital question to ask yourself and your executive team right now. As the time between intent and transaction shrinks towards 0, are you structurally ready to be the AI's default choice, or are you on the path to becoming digitally invisible in the agentic economy? The blueprint is right in front of you. The time to map your strategy, restructure your data, and navigate this 3-layer ecosystem isn't next year. It's right now.